Hey, happy Saturday, fam. It is Saturday story time, so I'm gonna try to do this real quick. I really want to talk about fruit that speaks, humility, and how important it is to obey the promptings of the Holy Spirit. I will be honest, quick disclaimer, I had no plans on putting this up here because I just believe when we do things that we should do and walking in obedience and walking out the Lord's word, like there's no need to post about it. But it made me realize, and even my mom, who was not on social media platforms at all, she literally was just like, maybe the Lord had you experience that. Because I was like, Mom, I wasn't going to get on TikTok today. And she was like, well, maybe the Lord had you experience that for a reason. I didn't have a story time for this weekend. Y'all know we do story time Saturday or Sunday. I really wanted to just kind of chill the last day we gonna be with my brother and them. I didn't really want to even get on social, but I just really want us as not just believers, but as people of color, like for the African American community, however you want to identify as a person of the African diaspora, I really think it's important that we pay attention to our emotions and our feelings and realize that pre-election, this has nothing to do with who you voted for. So we're in the Hallmark store. My brother, I'm born and raised in Philly, so we live in Philly, but my brother lives on the outskirts. I ain't gonna get too detailed about where, but he lives on the outskirts, and the community he lives in is predominantly white. And he's been out here for about 3 years. And one of the things that is a common thread is that oftentimes the white people in the community, not so much his neighbors, but just at the Walmarts and the different places that we go, they don't say excuse me. And sometimes, you don't want to always go to the place of like, oh, it's a racial thing, but like, we gonna call a spade a spade. And so for me, it's not just where my brother lives, it's even just the outskirts of Philly. Like, there's a Trader Joe's in a small town, well, I guess you could say small town outside of Philly. It's about 30 minutes from where we live. And throughout my whole life, like when I first learned about Trader Joe's, I would say in the last 10 years, whenever I've been home and lived in Philly, I was in Atlanta before this. I peep it there. Like we walk in and they look at us like we don't belong there. Because if most Trader Joe's are in predominantly white neighborhoods. And so I'm quick to be very respectful and loving, but I will wait for you to say, excuse me. So it's not about being confrontational. And even as a disciple of Christ, like Jesus wasn't a punk. You're not just going to move me. You're not going to look at me and wait for me to move without you opening your mouth. And so just little things like that. So we're in the Hallmark store, and I'm gonna be honest, the guy triggered me when I was driving, and I was so frustrated at the way he was driving behind me. Just kind of just this sporadic, like just irate to me. And my brother talks about that a lot up here. Like he's like, yeah, they will run you off the road out here, like period. And so that kind of already had gotten to me. So by the time we pulled into the Hallmark parking lot, and I go to Hallmark, I hold the door for this older white. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even look at her age until after I reacted. Cause I don't play. Cause somebody grandma, if that's my grandma, we going toe to toe. So I hold the door for her. And I'm thinking about the incident from not just the guy who was basically almost trying to run me off the road, but also yesterday I held the door for this younger woman and her daughter, and I waited for her to say thank you. Like, we not gonna keep like covering this up, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't know you. Nah, somebody holding the door, thank you's the next words, so I guess all of this is just in my mind, but I'm not like mad. I wasn't holding on to offense. I didn't sleep on it. It's just, I think things come up when we're in similar situations. And so the lady, I hold the door and I waited for her to say thank you. So then I was like, ma'am, I'm holding the door. I said it nicely. And then she was just like, oh, I can't get around you. I said, okay, no, I was holding the door because that's just how I was raised. Like, you hold the door. It was like 3 people coming in, and she was like right there. So as we go into the store, I said what I was waiting for was a thank you. And I mean, I said it with all the Philly aggression. I'm not even on front. And she was like she got startled. And she was like, I just didn't know what you were doing. When I tell you, by the time I reached the end of that card rack, God was like, you better turn around and apologize. And I had it wasn't even like I was going to be, oh, I just had a weak moment. Or no, like I felt that I was wrong. And so yesterday when I think about how I posted for Faithful Friday, and I was like, we need to check in the areas of our lives where we need to be more faithful to God, because we can get on here on these apps, we can say all the things, quote all the scriptures, do all the encouragement, all the prophetic words, and this, that, and the other. Even Dr. Jackie Hill Perry kind of noted how people post their quiet time and they got the soaking worship, how I study the Bible, but are we walking it out? And I had just posted that yesterday about being faithful to God. Then a few times this week and last week, I posted about how your fruit needs to speak more than your words. And I am one of those people. If I'm convicted, the Lord I will not sleep on it. I will find your number, find your email. I will drive around the corner, because I can't afford for pride to be my downfall. And not only that, it's not about being perfect. It is about just, okay, the Holy Spirit convicted, now corrected. So I go to the aisle, and I literally is like, ma'am, I am sorry. I am so sorry. And I mean, I was already tearing up, because I could feel like the Holy Spirit was like, no, correct that. But I didn't want this to be 10 minutes, but it's probably going to be, but that's fine, because story time is usually, like right under 10 minutes. Here's the teachable moment. So as I'm talking to her, I grab her and I hold her. This lady had to be at least 60, probably 70. I ain't gonna front. I was dead wrong. Like, not just because of her age. But I hugged her and I said, can I be honest with you? I said, I just noticed a pattern whenever we come up here when my brother lives here. And I was like, the community is never... It's not, I'm not even fronting, like every Walmart, and I'm just like, we try not to be triggered, but it is triggering, ma'am. And you know what she said to me? She taught me a whole lesson. And this is why we have to be so careful. We cannot lump people in or box people in by race, by religion, by sexuality. We have got to be careful. And she said, can I be honest with you? It's probably not even about race that people aren't saying thank you. She said, we're more shocked in this community when people have manners. Child, I like the head felt. I said, what? She said, I'm going to be honest with you. Because we were kind of whispering at this point. She was like, it's probably more shocking when people have manners. I didn't even know what you were doing, that you were holding the door for me. Like, I seen it. She was like, but I just, I didn't know whether you wanted me to go around you because you had stopped. And I said, and I stopped because this was like, yesterday it happened. And I was like, no, y'all gonna say thank you. You know what I'm saying? And even that's a little prideful, right? Because if we're just doing things, well, it's not really to expect manners. People should be mannerable. But if we're doing things because it's who we are, we can't be moved by who they're not. Even if look, I'm from North Philly. It's black people that don't say thank you, please, and excuse me. So it wasn't really a race thing for me initially. Like on the whole surface, it was for a minute. I was like, no, you gonna say thank you, because it kind of caught me off guard. And I hugged her and I said, no, let me tell you something. I pointed right to the hour. I said, my mama raised me better than that. Okay. And I said, and I'm a representation of Christ, and I will not let that slide. Like, I am sorry. And like, I hugged her. She wanted to let go quick. I hugged her just like she was my grandmom. But that taught me something. So the thing I want to leave you with is, just as important it is to make sure your fruit is speaking louder than your words, like I said yesterday. Let us just be, it's okay that we're triggered. We are a triggered community. This is why I said this ain't got nothing to do with the election. This was me, like, even growing up when I would be in white neighborhood. Like, y'all gonna say, excuse me. You gonna say, please. You gonna say, because I see it when I do go to certain neighborhoods. And so we are a triggered people sometimes. And the Holy Spirit was like, it's okay for you to acknowledge that, and for you to be like, God, I am sorry. Like, I am feeling some kind of way that sometimes when we in these neighborhoods, they act like we don't belong here, all the things. But he said, but here's what that moment did. That was a teachable moment, because she taught you something clearly about her own community. Because if she's saying, I'm shocked that we get more shocked that people do it. She lives in a predominantly white neighborhood. So what was she saying? Her people don't hold the door for her is what she's saying. But as I wrap it up, humble yourself. apologize, be convicted. Not everything again goes on social. I really wasn't even gonna put, but God said no. I made, because I said, Mom, didn't I say I was gonna stay in the car? She said God must have wanted you to experience something. So, and like, recognize your triggers and be okay knowing that. All right, love y'all. Gotta go. Bye.